Welcome, weary soul. You've come here tonight carrying questions that have no easy answers. Perhaps you're wondering what it all means. Is the struggles, the striving, the endless cycle of days that blur together. Your mind is searching for purpose, for understanding, for some kind of peace in a world that often feels meaningless. Tonight, you're going to rest in the ancient wisdom of King Solomon, a man who had everything this world offers, yet discovered the deepest truths about what truly matters. Through the book of Ecclesiastes, you'll find not empty philosophy, but profound comfort for your restless heart. You can expect to encounter God's perspective on your struggles, to understand that your questions are not failures of faith but part of the human journey. Your racing thoughts will slow as you discover that even in life's seeming meaninglessness, there is divine purpose and peace. Let your body sink into comfort. Breathe slowly and deeply. Release the day's burdens. Father, quiet this precious heart tonight. Speak through your ancient words. Show them that their life has meaning in you, even when they can't see it. Amen. You're feeling lost tonight, aren't you? Like you're spinning your wheels, working so hard but getting nowhere. You look at your life and wonder if any of it matters. The same routines, the same struggles, day after day. You're not alone in this feeling. Listen to how Solomon began his great wisdom. Ecclesiastes 1-2-3. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What do people gain from all their labours at which they toil under the sun? Do you hear that? The wisest man who ever lived felt exactly what you're feeling right now. He looked at all his accomplishments, all his wealth, all his achievements, and said, "What's the point?" But here's what's beautiful about this. Solomon wasn't giving up. He was searching for what really matters, and what he found will bring your heart such peace. When Solomon says meaningless, he's talking about the emptiness you feel when you try to find purpose in temporary things. Your job, your achievements, your possessions, they can't fill the aching in your soul. But that doesn't mean your life is meaningless. It means you were made for something deeper, something eternal. Maybe you're overwhelmed tonight. The pressures feel crushing, don't they? You're trying to keep up with the pace of life, but it feels impossible. Solomon understood this too. Ecclesiastes 3-1. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A season for every activity. That means, right now, in this moment, there's a season for rest. There's a season for your weary heart to stop striving and simply be. You don't have to figure everything out tonight. You don't have to solve every problem or answer every question. This is your season to rest. God sees your exhaustion. He sees how hard you've been trying, how much you've been carrying, and He's whispering to your spirit, "This too is a season. Rest now, beloved. Rest." Your heart is breaking, isn't it? Something has been lost. Someone has gone, and the grief feels overwhelming. The pain is so deep it takes your breath away. Solomon wrote about this kind of sorrow. Ecclesiastes 3-4, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to weep. Your tears tonight are not weakness. They're part of the sacred rhythm of life that God Himself designed. Even in your deepest sorrow, you are held within His perfect timing. This season of mourning will not last forever, but for tonight, it's okay to feel the full weight of your loss. God doesn't rush your grief. He sits with you in it. He validates your pain by making space for it in His eternal plan. Your tears matter to Him. Every single one is collected in His bottle, treasured in His heart. You're anxious about the future, aren't you? The unknown feels so scary. You can't control what's coming, and that terrifies you. Listen to Solomon's wisdom about this fear. Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. Beautiful in its time. Not beautiful in your timing, but in His time. The future that seems so uncertain to you is already complete in God's eternal perspective. He sees the beginning and the end, and He calls it beautiful. Your story, your life, your future, it's all part of something breathtakingly beautiful that you can't see yet. The eternity in your heart, that restlessness you feel, that sense that there must be more, that's God's fingerprint on your soul. You were made for eternal things, eternal love, eternal purpose. That's why temporary things leave you empty. That's why your heart keeps searching. You feel so small tonight, don't you? Insignificant. Like your life doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But Solomon discovered something profound. Ecclesiastes 3:14. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing taken from it. God does it so that people will fear Him. Everything God does endures forever. Your life is not separate from what God is doing. Your life is what God is doing. Every breath, every heartbeat, every struggle, every joy, it's all part of His eternal work. And what He does endures forever. That means your kindness to a stranger matters forever. Your love for your family echoes in eternity. Your prayers, your tears, your moments of faith, they're all woven into something that will never fade, never diminish, never be forgotten. You're not too small. You're not insignificant. You're part of God's eternal masterpiece, and nothing about you will ever be meaningless. Maybe you're feeling guilty tonight. You've made mistakes, said things you regret, done things you wish you could undo. The shame feels heavy on your chest. Solomon struggled with this too. Ecclesiastes 7:20. Indeed, there is no one on earth who is righteous, no one who does what is right and never sins, no one who never sins. That includes you, but it also includes everyone who has ever lived. You're not uniquely broken. You're not the only one who has failed. You're human, beautifully and vulnerably human, just as God made you to be. Your mistakes don't disqualify you from God's love. They qualify you for His grace. In a world obsessed with perfection, God loves you in your imperfection. In a culture that demands you have it all together, God embraces you when you're falling apart. Tonight, you can rest in the truth that your worth isn't based on your performance. Your value comes from being loved by the one who makes everything beautiful in its time. Your mind won't stop racing tonight, will it? Thoughts spinning in circles, questions without answers, fears about tomorrow mixing with regrets about yesterday. You're exhausted but can't find peace. Your soul feels restless, searching for something you can't even name. Solomon knew this feeling intimately. He wrote, Ecclesiastes 1-8, all things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the ear its fill of hearing. All things are wearisome. Do you feel that weariness deep in your bones? It's not just physical tiredness, it's soul weariness. The weariness that comes from searching and striving and never quite finding what you're looking for. Solomon had everything: wisdom, wealth, power, pleasure, and still felt this deep exhaustion. But here's what he discovered. This weariness isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. It's showing you that your heart was made for something beyond this world. The restlessness you feel is actually homesickness for heaven. Your spirit knows it belongs somewhere else, somewhere better, somewhere eternal. Tonight, instead of fighting that weariness, let it teach you. Let it remind you that it's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to feel the weight of existence. Even the wisest man who ever lived felt exactly what you're feeling right now. You're questioning everything, aren't you? The beliefs you once held so firmly now seem shaky. The faith that once brought comfort now brings confusion. You wonder if God is really there, if he really cares, if any of this spiritual stuff is real. Solomon went through this exact struggle. Ecclesiastes 8:17. Then I saw all that God has done. No one can comprehend what goes on under the sun. Despite all their efforts to search it out, no one can discover its meaning. Even if the wise claim they know, they cannot really comprehend it. No one can comprehend what goes on, not even the wisest people. Your questions aren't a sign of weak faith, they're a sign of honest faith. God is so vast, so complex, so beyond human understanding, that even our greatest minds can only grasp tiny glimpses of his nature. Solomon isn't saying God doesn't exist or that seeking him is pointless. He's saying that God is bigger than our ability to fully understand him. And that's actually comforting, isn't it? If you could fully understand God, he wouldn't be God. The mystery isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature. Your questions honor God because they take him seriously. Your doubts show that you care deeply about truth. God isn't threatened by your struggle to understand. He's big enough to hold all your questions, all your doubts, all your confusion. You feel so alone in your struggles tonight, like no one else understands what you're going through, like you're the only one who feels this lost, this confused, this overwhelmed by life. But Solomon observed something profound about human experience. Ecclesiastes 1-9. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. That means your struggle, your pain, your confusion, it's all been felt before. Thousands of years ago, people felt exactly what you're feeling tonight. And thousands of years from now, people will struggle with the same deep questions about meaning and purpose. You're not alone. You're part of the great human experience of searching for meaning in a complex world. Your pain connects you to every person who has ever lived and wrestled with these same questions. But here's what's beautiful about this. If the struggles are the same, so is the comfort. The peace that sustained people through these struggles for thousands of years is available to you tonight. The God who comforted Solomon in his questioning is the same God who wants to comfort you in yours. The pressure to succeed is crushing you, isn't it? You feel like you're running a race you can never win. No matter how much you achieve, it never feels like enough. There's always more to do, more to accomplish, more to prove. Solomon understood this trap. Ecclesiastes 4:4, and I saw that all toil and all achievement spring from one person's envy of another. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Chasing after the wind. Have you ever tried to catch the wind? It's impossible. You can feel it, you can see its effects, but you can never grasp it. That's what Solomon says our striving for achievement often becomes, an attempt to catch something that can never be caught. The drive to succeed often comes from comparison, from fear of not being enough. But what if you already are enough? What if your worth isn't determined by what you accomplish, but by who you are, a beloved child of the God who created the wind itself? Tonight, you can stop chasing the wind. You can rest in the truth that your value is secure, your worth is established, your place in God's heart is guaranteed, not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. You're paralyzed by fear of making the wrong choice, aren't you? Every decision feels monumental. You're afraid that one wrong move will ruin everything. The weight of choosing feels unbearable. Solomon wrote about the burden of decision-making. Ecclesiastes 11:5. As you do not know the path of the wind, or how the body is formed in a mother's womb, so you cannot understand the work of God, the maker of all things. You cannot understand the work of God. That includes the outcomes of your decisions. You don't know how God will weave your choices into His greater plan. You can't see how he'll use even your mistakes for good. This isn't an excuse for careless decision-making. It's an invitation to make decisions with wisdom and then trust God with the outcomes. You don't have to see the entire path to take the next step. You don't have to understand how it all works out to move forward in faith. God is the maker of all things, including the consequences of your choices. He's bigger than your mistakes and more creative than your best-laid plans. Tonight, you can release the burden of having to make perfect decisions and rest in the truth that God makes beautiful things even from imperfect choices. Your relationships are causing you so much pain tonight. People have disappointed you, hurt you, failed to understand you. You feel disconnected even when surrounded by others. The loneliness is crushing. Solomon observed the complexity of human relationships. Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. 2 are better than 1. Solomon isn't just talking about any relationships. He's talking about the kind of relationships that actually help, that actually warm the soul, that actually provide strength. You're longing for this kind of connection, and that longing is valid. You were made for relationship. But notice what Solomon says. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. The strongest relationships have God woven into them. When human relationships disappoint, and they will, because humans are imperfect, there's still that 3rd strand holding everything together. Tonight, even if you feel alone, you're part of a 3-strand cord. God is with you in your loneliness. He's the friend who sticks closer than a brother, the one who will never leave you nor forsake you. You're not as alone as you feel. The suffering in your life feels meaningless, doesn't it? The pain, the loss, the disappointment. You can't see any purpose in it. It just hurts, and the hurt seems to go on and on. Solomon wrestled with this too. Ecclesiastes 7:14. When times are good, be happy. But when times are bad, consider this. God has made the one as well as the other. Therefore, no one can discover anything about their future. God has made the one as well as the other. The good times and the bad times both come from the same loving God. This doesn't mean God causes suffering, but it means he allows it for reasons we can't see. Your pain is not outside his awareness or his plan. The suffering you're experiencing tonight is not meaningless, even though it feels that way. It's part of a story you can't see the end of yet. It's working something in your character, your compassion, your dependence on God that couldn't be worked any other way. This doesn't minimize your pain or rush you through your grief. It simply offers hope that your suffering will not be wasted. God is the ultimate recycler. He takes even our deepest pain and transforms it into something that brings healing to others and glory to himself. You can't see how your story ends, can you? The future looks uncertain, maybe even frightening. You're wondering if things will ever get better, if this struggle will ever make sense, if there's really a plan behind all this chaos. Listen to this promise that God made, not to someone else, but to you. Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Everything beautiful in its time. Not beautiful in your time, but in his time. The circumstances that feel ugly, meaningless, painful right now, God sees them from the perspective of eternity, and he calls them beautiful. Not because the pain itself is beautiful, but because of what he's creating through it. This means your current struggle has an expiration date, This season of confusion will give way to clarity. This time of sorrow will transform into joy, not because you can make it happen, but because God has already declared it. He makes everything beautiful in its time. Your heartbreak will become compassion for others. Your questions will deepen your faith. Your struggles will become your strength. You can't see it now, but God is painting a masterpiece with your life, and every stroke, even the dark ones, is necessary for the final beauty He has in mind. Tonight, rest in this promise. Your story isn't over. The chapters you're living through now are not the end. God is writing something beautiful, and He's not finished yet. Life feels completely out of control, doesn't it? Everything seems random, chaotic, meaningless. You're desperately trying to make sense of it all, to find some pattern, some purpose, but it feels like you're grasping at smoke. Here's what God promises about the seeming chaos. Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. A time for everything, every single thing you're experiencing, the joy, the sorrow, the confusion, the clarity, the loss, the gain. All of it fits into God's perfect timing. What feels random to you is precisely ordered by Him. This doesn't mean everything happens for a reason in some cosmic sense. It means that God can take every circumstance, good and bad, and weave it into His perfect plan for your life. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is meaningless. Everything has its time and its purpose in His grand design. Right now, you might be in a season of tearing down old beliefs, old relationships, old ways of being that no longer serve you. It's painful, but it's necessary preparation for the season of building that's coming. Trust the timing. Trust the process. Trust the One who makes everything beautiful in its time. You feel like you're drowning in circumstances beyond your control. The waves of difficulty keep crashing over you, and you don't think you can survive much more. But God promises this. Ecclesiastes 3:14. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing taken from it. Everything God does endures forever. That includes His work in your life, the foundation He's building in your character, the growth He's producing in your faith, the compassion He's developing in your heart. None of it will be lost. The waves can crash, the storms can rage, but what God is building in you is eternal and unshakable. The circumstances that threaten to overwhelm you are temporary. They're part of His eternal work, but they're not the eternal work itself. What He's creating in you through these circumstances that lasts forever. Your patience, your perseverance, your dependence on Him, your deep knowledge of His faithfulness, these are eternal treasures being formed in the furnace of your current trials. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing taken from it. What God has declared about you, what He's building in you, what He's promised to you, no circumstance can change it. No person can steal it. No difficulty can destroy it. It's as secure as God Himself. The pain you're carrying feels too heavy for you tonight. You don't think you have the strength to endure another day, another hour, another moment of this suffering. God's promise to you is this. Ecclesiastes 7-8. The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride. The end of a matter is better than its beginning. Your story isn't ending with pain. It's beginning with pain. The end God has written for your story is better than anything you've experienced so far. The conclusion He has planned surpasses the difficulty of the introduction. This requires patience, not the kind of patience that grits its teeth and endures, but the kind of patience that waits with hope because it trusts the author of the story. Patience is better than pride because pride says, I need to fix this now, while patience says, I trust God's timing. The pain you're feeling tonight is the beginning of a story that ends with beauty, purpose, healing, and joy. The current chapter is not the final chapter. God is writing a better than its beginning ending for your life. You feel abandoned by God tonight, like He's far away, not listening, not caring about your struggles. You've prayed and cried out and received silence in return. But listen to this promise. Ecclesiastes 5:2. Do not be quick with your mouth. Do not be hasty in your heart to utter anything before God. God is in heaven and you are on earth, so let your words be few. God is in heaven and you are on earth. This isn't about distance. It's about perspective. God sees from eternity what you can only see from time. He hears from omniscience what you can only hear from human limitation. His silence isn't absence. It's the patience of perfect wisdom, waiting for the perfect moment. Sometimes the most loving thing God can do is not answer your prayers immediately. Sometimes He knows that what you think you need right now would actually harm you in the long run. Sometimes He's preparing something better than what you're asking for. His silence doesn't mean He doesn't care. It means He cares enough to wait, to plan, to orchestrate circumstances in ways that you can't see but that will result in the greatest good for your life. Trust His heavenly perspective. Trust His perfect timing. Trust His unchanging love. You're exhausted from trying to figure everything out. Your mind is weary from analyzing, questioning, seeking answers that seem to slip away just when you think you found them. God's promise for your weary mind, Ecclesiastes 11:5. As you do not know the path of the wind, or how the body is formed in a mother's womb, so you cannot understand the work of God, the maker of all things. You cannot understand the work of God. This isn't a limitation, it's a liberation. You're not supposed to figure it all out. You're not failing when you don't have all the answers. You're being human in the presence of an infinite God. Just as you don't need to understand how the wind moves to feel its refreshing breeze, you don't need to understand God's ways to experience His goodness. Just as you don't need to comprehend the miracle of life forming in the womb to be amazed by it, you don't need to grasp His methods to trust His heart. Tonight, you can rest your weary mind. You can stop trying to solve the unsolvable and simply trust the solver. You can release the burden of understanding and accept the gift of wonder. God is working, even when you can't see it. He is good, even when you can't understand it. He loves you, even when you can't feel it. Your life feels small and insignificant. You look at the vastness of the universe, the scope of history, the billions of people on earth, and wonder if your little life even matters. Here's God's promise about your significance. Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Eternity in the human heart. God has placed something eternal inside you. Your longings for meaning, your desire for love that lasts, your hunger for purpose that transcends the temporary, these aren't accidents. They're evidence of the eternal nature God has woven into your very being. This means you were made for more than this world can offer. You were designed for eternity, created for forever, destined for something that outlasts every earthly achievement or failure. The restlessness you feel isn't a problem to be solved. It's a compass, pointing you toward your true home. Your life isn't small because you carry eternity within you. Your significance isn't measured by earthly standards, because you belong to an eternal realm. The love you give, the kindness you show, the faith you exercise are. These echo in eternity, because eternity is part of who you are. You feel trapped by your circumstances, like there's no way out, no hope for change. The walls feel like they're closing in, and you can't see any exit. But God promises this about your future. Ecclesiastes 11:1. Ship your grain across the sea. After many days you may receive a return. After many days you may receive a return. This is a promise about delayed harvest, about investments that take time to yield fruit, about hope that requires patience. The seeds you're planting through your faithfulness in this difficult season will produce a harvest and not rustles, but it may be many days before you see it. The kindness you show when you feel empty will come back to bless you. The faith you exercise when you can't see the way forward will produce character that sustains you. The love you give when you feel unloved will create connections that surprise you. The prayers you pray in the darkness will be answered in ways you never expected. But you have to ship your grain across the sea. You have to keep planting, keep hoping, keep trusting even when you can't see the return. The harvest is coming, but it's coming in God's timing, not yours. After many days, but it's coming. I know it's hard to have faith right now. When nothing makes sense, when God feels distant, when your prayers seem to bounce off the ceiling, believing feels almost impossible, doesn't it? You want to trust, but doubt feels stronger than faith tonight. Listen to what Solomon discovered about doubt and faith. Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. Do you see what he's saying? God put eternity in your heart. He also, that deep longing for meaning, for connection with the divine. But he also made his ways impossible for you to fully understand. Doubt isn't the enemy of faith. Doubt is what happens when an eternal heart tries to understand an infinite God with a finite mind. Your doubt doesn't disqualify you from God's love. Your questions don't push you away from him. They're actually evidence that you take God seriously, that you want real faith instead of shallow, pretending. God is big enough to handle all your doubts, all your questions, all your struggles to believe. Faith doesn't mean having no questions. Faith means continuing to seek God even when you have questions. Tonight, your seeking heart is an act of faith, even if it doesn't feel like it. You feel like your faith is too weak, too small to matter. You look at other people who seem so confident in their beliefs, and you wonder why your faith feels so fragile. Solomon wrote about this. Ecclesiastes 9:11. I have seen something else under the sun. The race is not to the swift or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise or wealth to the brilliant or favor to the learned, but time and chance happen to them all. Time and chance happen to them all. Even those people who seem to have such strong faith, they have their moments of doubt too. Faith isn't about never struggling. It's about continuing to trust despite the struggles. The race isn't to the swift. It's not about who has the strongest faith, the fastest. It's about endurance, about keeping going even when faith feels weak. Your small faith is precious to God. Jesus said that faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains. He didn't say you need giant faith. He said you need real faith, even if it's tiny. Your questions, your struggles, your honest wrestling with belief. Time. This is real faith being born. Don't compare your inside struggle with other people's outside appearance. They have their questions too, their moments of doubt too. What matters isn't the size of your faith, but the genuineness of it. You need something concrete to hold on to, don't you? Faith feels too abstract, too intangible when you're in this much pain. You want proof, evidence, something you can see and touch. Solomon understood this need. Ecclesiastes 3:1. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. This is concrete. Look at your life. Can you see the seasons? The times of growth and the times of pruning? The moments of joy and the periods of sorrow? The seasons of plenty and the seasons of want? This pattern isn't random. It's evidence of a God who orders time with purpose. You don't have to take faith's existence on blind faith. Look at the evidence of seasons in your own life. Look at how you've grown through difficulty, how you found strength you didn't know you had, how you've survived things you thought would destroy you. This is God's fingerprint on your story. Faith isn't believing despite evidence. It's recognizing the evidence that's already there. The love you've experienced, the beauty that moves you, the hope that keeps you going even when everything looks dark. These are not accidents. They're invitations to see God's hand in your life. You're waiting for God to keep promises that feel like they'll never come true. You've been hoping for so long that you're starting to wonder if you heard him wrong, if the promises were ever real to begin with. Solomon wrote about waiting. Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has made everything beautiful in its time, not in your time, but in his time. The promises are real, but the timing belongs to God. Abraham waited 25 years for Isaac. Moses waited 40 years in the desert before leading Israel. David waited years between being anointed king and actually becoming king. Waiting is part of faith's story. But waiting isn't passive. Waiting is active trust. It's continuing to believe when circumstances contradict the promise. It's holding on to hope when hope requires courage. It's choosing faith over fear again and again, day after day. The promise hasn't been forgotten. The timing hasn't been abandoned. God makes everything beautiful in its time, and his timing is always perfect, even when it's not what you expected. Your waiting is not wasted time. It's preparation time, character building time, deepening of faith time. You feel like others had stronger faith, faced easier challenges, had clearer direction from God. You wonder if you're just not cut out for this faith thing. But Solomon wrote about the universal human struggle. Ecclesiastes 7:20. Indeed, there is no one on earth who is righteous, no one who does what is right and never sins. No one who never sins. That includes no one who never doubts, no one who never struggles with faith, no one who never questions God. The giants of faith you admire, Abraham, Moses, David, Mary, they all had their moments of uncertainty, their times of fear, their seasons of struggle. Abraham laughed at God's promise. Moses argued with God at the burning bush. David cried out, "How long, O Lord?" Mary asked, "How can this be?" Their faith wasn't perfect. It was persistent. They didn't have all the answers. They had a relationship. Your struggles with faith put you in very good company. You're not failing at faith. You're learning faith the way every person throughout history has learned it. Through experience, through testing, through choosing to trust even when trust is hard. Faith isn't about perfection. It's about direction. Are you moving toward God even when you can't see him clearly? Are you seeking him even when he feels distant? Are you hoping even when hope is difficult? Then you're walking the path of faith. You feel abandoned, like God has forgotten about you. Your prayers feel like they're hitting the ceiling and bouncing back. The silence is deafening. Solomon experienced this feeling too. Ecclesiastes 5:2. God is in heaven and you are on earth, so let your words be few. God is in heaven. This isn't about distance. It's about perspective. God sees what you cannot see, knows what you do not know, understands what you cannot comprehend. Sometimes his love looks like silence, feels like absence, seems like abandonment, not one, but it's none of those things. Sometimes the most loving thing a parent can do is not rescue their child immediately, but let them develop strength through struggle. Sometimes the kindest thing a teacher can do is not give the answer immediately, but guide the student to discovery. Sometimes God's love expresses itself through patience, through waiting, through allowing us to grow. His silence doesn't mean he's not there. His delayed answers don't mean he doesn't care. His mysterious ways don't mean he's abandoned you. Faith is choosing to believe in his goodness when you can't see it, trusting his heart when you can't understand his hand. You're fighting to hold on to faith while everything around you seems to argue against God's goodness, his presence, his love. Solomon wrote about this battle. Ecclesiastes 12:13. Now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. Fear God and keep his commandments. After all the questioning, all the struggling, all the searching for meaning, Solomon's conclusion was simple, reverent, awe of God and obedience to his ways. Not because you understand everything, but because you trust his heart. This isn't blind obedience, it's informed trust. After examining life from every angle, after trying every other source of meaning, Solomon concluded that fearing God, even not and respecting him, honoring him, trusting him, is the only foundation that holds. Your struggle to maintain faith in the face of difficulty is actually faith expressing itself. Faith that doesn't face opposition isn't faith. It's assumption. Faith that never gets tested isn't really faith at all. Your battle to believe is proof that your faith is real, that it matters, that it's worth fighting for. Tonight, you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to understand everything. You just have to fear God, hold him in reverent awe, and trust that his commandments, his character, his promises are solid ground beneath your feet. Even when everything else shifts, God remains the same. That's enough to build a life on. That's enough to build a faith on. That's enough for tonight. Your mind has been spinning all day, hasn't it? Questions without answers, worries about tomorrow, regrets about yesterday. Even now, trying to rest, the thoughts keep coming like waves against the shore of your consciousness. You're so very tired, but peace feels elusive. Listen to what Solomon discovered about this kind of weariness. Ecclesiastes 2:23. All their days their work is grief and pain. Even at night their minds do not rest. This too is meaningless. All their days their work is grief and pain. Even at night their minds do not rest. Solomon sees you tonight. He understands this exhaustion that goes deeper than physical tiredness. It's the weariness of carrying burdens that were never meant for human shoulders, of trying to solve problems that have no earthly solutions. But notice what he calls it. Meaningless. This endless cycle of worry, this restless spinning of thoughts, this inability to find peace, it's meaningless. Not because your concerns don't matter, but because the anxiety about them serves no purpose. The worry doesn't solve anything. The restless thoughts don't bring answers. Tonight, you can step out of that meaningless cycle. Let your breathing slow down. Feel the tension in your shoulders begin to melt away. You don't have to solve everything tonight. You don't even have to understand everything. You can simply rest. Your heart is heavy with the weight of trying to control things that are beyond your control. The future feels uncertain, and uncertainty feels unbearable. You're gripping so tightly to plans and expectations, afraid to let go. Solomon wrote about this need to control, Ecclesiastes 11:5. As you do not know the path of the wind, or how the body is formed in a mother's womb, so you cannot understand the work of God, the maker of all things. You do not know the path of the wind. Close your eyes and imagine the wind. You can feel it. You can see its effects on the trees, on the water, on the clouds, but you cannot control where it goes. You cannot direct its course. And yet the wind accomplishes exactly what it needs to accomplish. Without your help, without your worry, without your control, God's work in your life is like that wind, mysterious, powerful, purposeful. You don't need to understand the path. You don't need to control the direction. You just need to let it move. Let it work. Let it accomplish what only God can accomplish. Feel your grip loosening on your plans, on your expectations, on your need to know how everything will work out. Like opening your hands and letting the wind flow through your fingers, you can open your heart and let God's will flow through your life without resistance, without fear. The pain you've been carrying feels too heavy tonight. Grief, loss, disappointment, heartbreak. It's all pressing down on your chest, making it hard to breathe, hard to hope, hard to imagine that joy will ever come again. Listen to Solomon's wisdom about sorrow, Ecclesiastes 3-4. A time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to weep. This is your time to weep, and that's sacred. God has made space in His eternal plan for your tears. They're not weakness, they're not failure. They're the honest response of a heart that has loved and lost and loved again. But Solomon also promises a time to laugh, a time to dance. These seasons are coming, not because you'll forget your pain, but because God specializes in bringing beauty from ashes, joy from mourning, dancing from despair. Tonight, you don't have to rush toward joy. You can be present with your sorrow, knowing that God sits with you in it. Your tears are precious to Him, every one collected, every one honored. You can rest even in your sadness, because rest doesn't require happiness. It only requires surrender. Let your breathing deepen, in and out, in and out. Each breath is a gift. Each heartbeat is grace. You are held, even in your pain, especially in your pain. You can rest now. You're so tired of fighting, aren't you? Fighting for hope, fighting for faith, fighting for meaning. In a world that often seems meaningless, the battle feels endless and you're running out of strength. Solomon understood this weariness. Ecclesiastes 9:11. The race is not to the swift or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise or wealth to the brilliant or favor to the learned, but time and chance happen to them all. The race is not to the swift. The battle is not to the strong. You don't have to be strong enough. You don't have to be fast enough. You don't have to have it all figured out. Time and chance, grace and providence. These happen to you, not because you've earned them, but because you're loved. Tonight, you can stop fighting. You can lay down your weapons of worry. Set aside your armor of anxiety. The battle belongs to the Lord, and He fights for you while you rest, while you sleep, while you simply exist in His love. Feel the weight of responsibility lifting from your shoulders. You were never meant to carry it all. You were never designed to solve everything. There is one who watches over you, who neither slumbers nor sleeps. You can sleep because He is awake. You can rest because He is working. Your mind keeps returning to the questions, doesn't it? Why did this happen? What does it all mean? What's the point? How will it end? The questions circle like birds that won't settle, keeping your thoughts agitated when all you want is peace. Solomon came to a beautiful conclusion about these endless questions. Ecclesiastes 12:13-4. Now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil. Now all has been heard. After all, the questioning, all the searching, all the wrestling with meaning, Solomon's conclusion is simple. Fear God, hold him in reverent awe, trust his character, trust his justice, trust his timing, trust his love. You don't need all the answers tonight. You need the answer. And the answer is God himself. Not an explanation, but a person. Not information, but relationship. Not understanding, but trust. Let the questions settle like dust after a storm. They don't need to be answered tonight. God holds all the answers, and he holds you. That's enough. For now. That's enough. Forever. Feel your thoughts slowing down, like leaves settling to the ground after autumn wind. Each anxious thought drifting away, replaced by peace, by presence, by the quiet assurance that you are loved, you are known, you are held. The weight of trying to make sense of everything is lifting from your mind. You can think tomorrow. You can question tomorrow. Tonight, you can simply rest in the mystery. Rest in the one who understands what you cannot. Rest in perfect love. Solomon discovered something beautiful about the rhythm of life. Ecclesiastes 3:2-3. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build. Everything has its time, its season, its purpose. Even this time of struggle has its place. In the larger story, God is writing with your life. Tonight is not the time for solving. Tonight is the time for resting. This is your time to heal. Your time to be still. Your time to let God tend to the garden of your heart while you sleep. He is working while you rest. He is restoring while you surrender. He is rebuilding. Your breathing is becoming deeper now, slower, more peaceful, like gentle waves on a calm shore, in and out, in and out. Each breath carries away a little more tension, a little more worry, a little more need to understand. Solomon learned to find peace in God's sovereignty. Ecclesiastes 3:14. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing taken from it. God does it so that people will fear him. Everything God does will endure forever. The work he's doing in your life tonight, the healing, the growth, the transformation, it will last. It cannot be taken from you. It cannot be undone. You are being changed into something eternal, something beautiful. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing taken from it. His love for you is complete. His plan for you is perfect. His commitment to you is unshakable. Rest in this certainty. You can sleep in this security. You can dream in this peace. Feel your body sinking deeper into rest, every muscle releasing, every nerve calming, every thought quieting. You are safe. You are loved. You are held by the one who makes everything beautiful in its time. Listen to the final wisdom that brought Solomon peace. Ecclesiastes 5:19. When God gives someone wealth and possessions, and the ability to enjoy them, to accept their lot and be happy in their toil, this is a gift of God. To accept their lot and be happy. This is a gift. The ability to accept what is, to find happiness, even in difficulty, to rest, even in uncertainty. This comes from God. This peace you're feeling now, this settling of your soul, this is His gift to you. You don't have to carry tomorrow's worries tonight. You don't have to solve next week's problems in this moment. You don't have to understand everything. To rest in the one who understands everything. The night is quiet now. Your mind is quiet now. Your heart is quiet now, held in the gentle hands of the one who neither slumbers nor sleeps, but who gives his beloved rest. Psalm 127:2 whispers to your spirit, "In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat, for He grants sleep to those He loves." Sleep to those He loves. You are loved deeply, eternally, unconditionally. And because you are loved, you can sleep. Because you are cherished, you can rest. Because you are held, you can let go. Tomorrow's mercies are new. Lamentations 3:22-3 promises, "Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for His compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." New every morning. Fresh mercy. Waiting for you. When you wake. But for now, for these precious hours, you can rest in today's mercy, today's grace, today's love. Feel the peace of God settling over you like a warm blanket, covering every anxious thought, every worried moment, every struggling emotion. You are covered by love. You are surrounded by grace. You are held by hands that will never let you go. Zephaniah 3:17 sings over you tonight. "The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In His love He will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. He delights in you. He rejoices over you with singing." Can you hear it? The gentle lullaby of divine love, singing you to sleep, singing you to peace, singing you to rest. You are safe tonight. You are loved tonight. You are at peace tonight. Rest now, beloved. Rest in the arms of the one who makes everything beautiful. In its time, rest. Rest. Sleep in peace.